Well, thank you. I want to welcome all of you here for this brief training overview of Chamber for Good. Um, this is meant as a Chamber for Good tutorial for chamber executives. And I know that some of you that are listening aren't chamber executives, but that's kind of the perspective that we're going to take as we go through this. So just a couple of slides, actually 3 or 4 slides before we jump into the system itself. But really, Chamber for Good is set up to put the Chamber of Commerce in the middle of all of the philanthropic activity and to give it the mechanism to house all of that energy and essentially co-op all of the wonderful positive energy that's taking place out there and the increasing intensity of the movement and everything else. It really gives the chambers the tool to be the central player in all of that. So we're going to go through that here in just a moment, but again, you can see Chamber for Good is about connecting local donors to local charities serving local needs. It really is about the community and the charities, but ultimately it's the chamber that benefits as much or more than the charities itself. So it really is a true win-win all the way around. Just a few of the questions that kind of lead us into a discussion about Chamber for Good. Where can I go to not only see local charities and causes, but to see their outstanding financial, volunteer, and item needs? Where can I go to make a volunteer offer? In other words, actually make an offer and have that offer go to all local charities or specifically to local charities within a certain category, whether that be kids, art and culture, religious, environmental, etc. And then is there a way that I can be made aware of immediate needs in our community that requires volunteers, items, or donations? So is there a way I can actually get that information sent to me specifically geared toward just our community and their current existing and sometimes critical and emergency types of needs? And questions from a Chamber of Commerce standpoint. As a chamber, how can we move beyond being business relevant to being community essential? Broaden the engaged populations. So actually have the entire community engaged and considering the chamber to be the essential organization within the community, even if they don't have any ties to business per se. How can I provide greater value, visibility, and focus to our local nonprofits without needing to commit staff time or chamber resources? So how can we as a Chamber of Commerce can become more relevant to this growing movement within the cause movement, charities, nonprofits that are becoming much more mature, sophisticated, advanced, going to capital markets, really kind of coming to their own. And I mean, we see so much job growth, specifically within the nonprofit world. And so there's quite a movement afoot. How can we kind of co-opt that and bring that within the chamber, but not have it distract our focus of at the core needing to help businesses be more profitable with all that that entails? So how do we balance those two things? How can I leverage our chamber to further build our community by supporting those organizations that lift up those in the greatest need within our community? So again, a short answer, it's never a completely comprehensive or a perfect one, but by connecting local donors to local charities and causes, serving local needs, Chamber for Good puts the local chamber at the forefront of the Give Local movement, firmly establishes it as the champion of the backyard cause. So Chamber for Good is the tool that really moves chambers beyond being business relevant to being community essential. You really become the crucial community building partner within your community. And it all starts with a link and an invitation. So it's this link that you're looking at here, the Give Local link, that within your community we would hope to see, and your chamber would hope to see plastered everywhere. On the charities that are members of Chamber for Good, on the media partners, on the Chamber's website, the municipalities' websites, and corporate sponsors. And we'll get into all of those kind of in a different training. That's part of the perpetual publicity program, but we will get into it a little bit today as we look at the website. So let's go ahead and dive into the website now and just walk through the major elements. Okay, so trying to be sensitive to time here, I will go pretty quickly. Right off the bat, I want you to notice that each Chamber for Good site and system is branded to that chamber. We want this to look local. We want this to be your site and system. We don't want somebody to get the impression this is some outsider. It doesn't matter if they know that it's an outside organization, but we don't want that to be the initial impression as they come to the website. We want them to feel at home, like this is part of the Chamber of Commerce. So you'll see that it's branded with your chamber logo, and it lists the communities that your Chamber of Commerce serves. Now we're going to skip down to really the kind of the soul of the Chamber for Good site, which is the 3 trailheads. Um, Community members will find their way to the site through a whole bunch of different ways. So we won't focus on that right now, but let's just, with the assumption they get here, there's really three major ways to engage with the charities on the site. And again, that's the role of Chamber for Good, to raise the visibility of the local charities and causes, and then to create giving relationships for them. And again, it's the same thing chambers do with businesses: raise their visibility, create relationships, buying relationships with them. So it's just done now as a nonprofit. So again, this allows the chamber to provide a really critical and high value to its nonprofit members. So first thing is, as I come in here, I can browse needs that exist. And all the Chamber for Good members, charities, have the ability to post needs. There's no maintenance on the part of the Chamber of Commerce. This is a self-maintaining system. So charities themselves are responsible to post those needs. So let's go ahead and click here. See, I just want to come in and see what volunteer needs there are in the community. So I'll come in, and right off the bat, I'm going to see where the charities are located that happen to have current existing needs, and then I see them further sorted by category, or I can choose to see all. I'm going to click on kids. So this means I'm viewing the volunteer needs that exist with charities that focus on children. Okay, and so as I come in, I can see some explanation here under Dysart Community Center. Looks like they need some help here: basketball, baseball, kickball. Do you have a large group? All right, so they need some help here. I'm interested in helping out with that, or I can scroll down and look at some more. But let's say I want to help out with this, or just get some more information. I click on the email link, put my information in. I can add any other verbiage here, and then I send that off, and it immediately goes out to that particular charity. Again, relationship has been created. If I want a little more information on the charity, I can always just click on Dysart Community. I go to their profile page. Again, this is not meant to be an exhaustive research tool, just as a chamber business directory is not meant to be an exhaustive research tool. But this does offer quite a bit more information. So I can obviously donate. This is the charity that controls where this link goes to. There's the Facebook website. Also, if they have a Twitter feed or YouTube account, those icons would come up here. The charity controls all of this information in their back-end system. They can change it, they can update it. And then, of course, you see the item needs and the volunteer needs. They all have financial needs. That stays there all the time. But I can always come down, item needs. Let's see what they've got. I want to really support this charity. What are the needs they have right now? Board games. I've got some board games. I'm going to go ahead and tell them I've got 7 board games recently that I just discovered that were hidden forever, and send this off, and again, begin the relationship there. The Chamber of Commerce has facilitated that. So that is the profile page. We're going to come back now to the very beginning. So that is the first way that the community can engage with the Chamber for Good system. The second way is, let's say that my family wants to do some volunteer work. It's around the holidays, and I'd really like to have my kids do some volunteering at a local charity. It can require a great deal of time and energy to figure out who needs help. And an easier way to do it would be to come in. I click on Offer Volunteer Time. I put in my name and information, contact, and I say I've got 2 adults, 3 children, the ages of 7 to 15. We'd like to do some volunteering on this date from 9 to 12 in the morning. And then, you know what, we'd really like to focus on art and culture. We'd really want to support some art and culture charities in the area. So I'm just going to send this offer to art and culture charities. I click send, it goes out to them automatically, and a relationship begins there. Charities always love getting these offers. I'm going to go back, and now we're going to skip down here. You see featured charity, charity events, and flash cause. I won't dwell on these a lot. We don't have a lot of time. But the featured charity, this Chamber of Commerce, the Surprise Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is a metropolitan Phoenix chamber in Northwest Phoenix area, chooses to use this featured charity to reward its chamber members. So their eligibility statement, which every chamber controls who can participate in their Chamber for Good, but their eligibility statement, I'll actually click on it here. As you click on Add My Charity, you're shown the eligibility statement, which is right here. In order to be listed, you've got to be a 501c3 engaged in charitable activities benefiting the Northwest Valley residents, also be based within the chamber service area of those communities, or have a strong operational presence. Nowhere does it say that they need to be a chamber member. And they want the credibility of truly being the clearinghouse for all philanthropic activities. So they don't require you to be a chamber member, but they do reward chamber members by giving them some additional visibility. And that's an easy thing to control in the back-end system. Over here, it's a central clearinghouse as far as event calendars go for philanthropic events and activities that are upcoming. I can click here to get more information and see them organized by time and date. They have links, phone numbers, whatever. But this really becomes the place for all philanthropic and cause and charity events for people to be able to see, and they're not buried and diluted by other community types of things going on. Over here we have the flash cause. This is where a chamber can come in, and if there's a need that's immediate that requires the community to rally around it, I can put a flash cause in here. If there is not a flash cause, this is a placeholder that simply thanks people and lets them know that the Chamber is very supportive of local charities and causes. To learn more about our Chamber of Commerce, click the logo below, and then the Chamber logo would sit right here. Scrolling down, a major component of making sure that the word is out there about Chamber for Good is using the media partners to promote the Give Local movement, and the Chamber for Good is the mechanism to do that. And so charity media partners are usually pretty excited to participate, and on a weekly or biweekly basis, they'll be posting ads and support the community, give local, Chamber for Good. Go to the Chamber's website and click on the Give Local link to go to the Chamber for Good site. Million other messages, and we send those things to you. You don't have to create any content. And then we reciprocate by allowing the media partners to have their links posted here, and it's a very easy thing to do in the backend system. You control that as well. Scrolling down to the bottom, this is the third central way that the community can engage with Chamber for Good. As a Chamber of Commerce executive, as an individual associated with Chamber for Good or the Chamber of Commerce, it's nice to now be able to speak to any group in your entire community and have a relevant message and an invitation and a challenge. To request that each of them please go to the Chamber of Commerce website and click on the Give Local link and put their email address in below. All that means is that on a weekly basis, they'll be made aware of all of the existing charitable needs within our community. Whether or not they choose to act on it is completely up to them, but if you love the community, you want to help out, you want to be supportive, you should at least be made aware of them and know what's going on and what great needs exist within our community. And so every Monday, this email goes out automatically. It lists the most recent 15 item needs and the most recent 15 volunteer needs with a link back to the website to view all of the others as well. If there is a flash cause, it shows up first right at the top of the email. And then also the only time that an email would go out on a day other than Monday would be whenever a chamber posts a flash cause. So whenever a chamber posts a flash cause and submits it, that email goes out immediately to the entire community that has their emails listed in here. So it's one other way to be able to engage the community. In other words, just think about that for a second. You have an entire sections of your community, philanthropic-minded individuals, retirees, organizations, who may not have a relationship with the chamber. They think the chamber is wonderful, but they don't have an engaged relationship with the chamber, who now become dependent upon the Chamber of Commerce to be made aware of all of the local need and to facilitate the exchange and the raising the visibility and the relationship. The great thing about that email as it goes out is right at the very top, it has the Chamber of Commerce logo. So people are constantly being reminded that it's the local Chamber of Commerce that is the one that's making all of this possible and is really being the ultimate community builder. Here, the last section I'll show you is the Thank You Chamber for Good supporters. As a Chamber of Commerce, you have up to 3 of these spots at no cost, just depending on the state, and that changes state by state. But some states, you can actually get the Chamber for Good system absolutely free of charge and have up to 3 sponsorship spots if you do that during the new state rollout period. After that, you'll at least get 1 spot free of charge. In other words, you're not paying anything for this system, for the service. In fact, you'll actually have some non-dues revenue generated because you can turn around and resell at least 1 of the spots. You can always purchase additional spots. And so it's a great thing to be able to take advantage of. It's a very easy thing to manage in the back-end system. There is a 5th space here that Chamber Dynamics controls. And that's how Chamber Dynamics hopes to recoup its costs as it goes from state to state to state, is to be able to have national partners and sponsors. Whenever possible, we actually try to sell that to your chamber members and make it available to your chamber members so it has an increased, so a local look and feel. But from time to time, we do go to national sponsors. That can be worked out with you on an individualized basis. If you as a chamber actually want to purchase that, resell it, if you've got somebody that's willing to go ahead and pay some money to have a spot, let us know. I mean, we're just recovering costs on this, so if you choose to purchase it from our low cost and then turn around and resell it, then more power to you. That's wonderful. We just want to see it used and to see these wonderful charities getting the visibility that they so desperately need, these mid and large. Now keep in mind, large charities will be on here as well, so this is not discriminating against the larger ones. It's just making sure that the smaller ones have an increased level of visibility and can subtly communicate with the community itself. So that's a quick overview there. The other videos, we'll take you into the back end system and get you more familiar with it. But that is the Chamber for Good system.